Our next guest is running for State Senate in District 13, which encompasses Murray, Marshall, Lincoln, and a piece of Rutherford County. Miss Debbie Matthews is running against an incumbent, Bill Ketron. Miss Matthews is the Democratic nominee for that race. She's the Labor-endorsed candidate. It's been a very tough fight for this Senate seat. But this lady, as you'll see, has some fire in her belly, and she'll tell you real quick she's going to win this race, and we believe she is. And let's give a warm welcome to Miss Debbie Matthews.
You know, when you stand in front of labor people, it's almost like being at church. You know, it's like once a year you're in an audience of people that are after the same things in your heart and soul. It's that untangible speaking that you just know. You don't have to hedge anything. You don't have to worry about these semantics that people are getting away from or getting to. So to be here with you all this morning, I'm honored. So I want to tell you a little bit about me. I am just a country girl from Columbia, Tennessee. And my dad was an iron worker. He worked for industrial contractors. He was the general superintendent of all the plants in Murray County that were union. And he was probably the biggest influence in my life. And you know, sometimes today when people are trying to define the Democratic Party or what the working man is, it's like, nope, my dad defined who the Democratic Party is and always will be, and what a working man was. Up at 5 o'clock every morning, not home until 6. He'd come in soot covered every day. And I can remember at Stauffer, he got into some sort of chemical on his hands that caused these cuts. I mean, it was like 1,000 cuts on his hands, and every time they would move, they would break open and re-bleed. This went on for like 2 years. I never heard him complain. I never heard him cancel anything, even push mow in the Little League ballpark. He always showed up for everything. You know, it's a man of the greatest generation, a Christian and a veteran, and I lost him a couple of years ago. But Murray County, because he was there, will never be lessened because he was there and made a difference. There were working men and women in Columbia that he always made sure had a job. That was the main thing every day when he got up, was to put his men to work. And I grew up in the shadow of that every day. And he agonized when he could not find work for his men. So, as I grew up, I understood the importance of working and making sure that your community worked and what you wanted for the quality of life for your neighbors. You know, there's that old poem that said, he was a man that lived beside the road, who was a good neighbor to man. And that was my dad. He wanted his neighbors to have a good quality of life and good health care and good opportunities for people to take care of their family. And those Tennessee values, those Murray County values, have never left me. After I graduated from David Lipscomb, I started working for Piedmont and U.S. Air. And I know how important the IAM was to my life those 11 years while I was there. And hopefully that's an AT&T union call. Anyway, so I worked for Piedmont and U.S. Air for 11 years. And after Piedmont was purchased by U.S. Air, how many of any airline representatives? I had a feeling about you. It was that wild look in your eye. But you know, U.S. Air overextended themselves like businesses do. And they had to start making cuts. And when they started making cuts, the IAM was at the table, the pilots union was at the table, the flight attendants union was at the table for those cuts. But I worked for a division as a trainer that we were non-contract employees. And so we took it without a kiss, guys. There's no other way to put it. You know, it was slicing and dicing of benefits, hours, etc. And it was like, well, God helps those who help themselves, right? And the United Steelworkers at the time were coming in to organize. And I became a labor organizer for the United Steelworkers. And the Teamsters also tried to get that bid. It was very interesting. Teamsters took a swipe at me with a car in Dayton, Ohio. I will never forget that. So I've told them they've got to max out on their contribution for me this time. They owe me big. But after that was a 2-year campaign, and it did not unionize at the time, which was sad. But later on, they did go with CWA, which is a wonderful thing. Right now, my husband and I are in the country music business, and he is a member of the After SAG union. And so right now, today, the union takes care of us for our retirement and our health care. You know, when I look at this community that we're in, there's very few things that I know for sure, you know, that you can just say that are positive, things that you know without a doubt. One of those is that I would not have had a college education or insurance growing up if it had not been for the iron workers. That's just a fact. Second, if the UAW is rushed out of Tennessee, given that bums rush that they're trying to do, with our state senators especially, that other car companies that come to this area, they're going to get lower pay and lower benefits because there'll be nobody here to counter that. I also know, like I know, that if the miners of Massey Mining had had a union, 29 miners would not have died. And I know that the BP spill would have been lessened if those guys had had some sort of representation. I at least know those fire alarms would have been on that night. Those are the things that I know for sure. But there's one other thing I know for sure, is that Bill Ketron, the second highest ranking Republican in the state, is not a friend of labor, and the longer he stays there, there's going to be a greater divide between the haves and the have-nots. Because today, friends, it's not about black and white anymore, or brown and black, or all those things that we look at. It is about rich and poor. And that divide is getting further and further wider every day. And if labor does not get its hands back on the steering wheel, as we do with business and government, we're going to be ridden into a ditch. Mr. Ketron, who I am running against, voted down a minimum wage increase possibility for average working men and women, and then turned around and gave himself a raise. He just voted down the infectious disease bill for firefighters that would give them protections that if they rush into a situation and they pick up an infectious disease, that it's automatically a work comp claim. He single-handedly defeated that bill and basically said that the citizens of the state of Tennessee should not have to pay for promiscuous behavior from the firefighters. And right now, as union people, I look to you all, the firefighters are trying to unionize as hard as they can, and this is a year that possibly will go through. And it is very important that they have somebody at the state Senate and House that can get that done for them. Because right now, I am a city council person in Columbia, and cities make these guys pony up with an attorney to get the benefits they deserve. And that is not how our first responders and our heroes should be treated.
Okay, I'm done.
I also want to remind everybody, Mr. Ketron was instrumental in making sure illegal immigrants had driver's license. That, to me, and even Marsha Blackburn, and she and I are polar opposites of each other, but she's even said that's done more detriment on illegal activity and lower paying jobs for the state of Tennessee than any one single thing that has happened in the last few years. So I'm coming to you today as a daughter of labor, as a daughter of Tennessee, as a daughter of knowing of what my father went through for his union and what the union went through for him. And I'm coming to you today to let you know that I need your help. Mr. Ketron spent $500,000 the last time on a state Senate seat that earns about $20,000 a year. And he is backed by special interest from Walmart all the way down. And so it takes us with a voice to say, no more, we are here. And we're not going anywhere. And with that, I want to be that rock in the shoe that always has working men and women's first in the state of Tennessee on every decision that comes down the pike. It is about giving Tennesseans jobs, putting Tennesseans to work. You know, the big convention center that's over here right now, you know, I think it's important that Tennesseans get those opportunities before any other company, you know, or any other country, I'm afraid, because there may be some other subcontractors coming in from different places, but I know Eddie's watching that. I know all of the guys at the AFL-CIO are watching that. So, I am Debbie Matthews, and this is me, and that's my story. And I have a big mountain to climb. And if I don't get him this time, I'm going to run right at him again. But he is beatable. His numbers are coming back that he's weak, which is great. His ID numbers are only like 55 after a sitting senator for 8 years. So we have an opportunity to take down the second most powerful Republican in this state, and that would send shockwaves from stem to stern that this is not going to go gracefully into that dark night. So I appreciate you letting me be here today. I can't wait to meet the rest of you all on this side of the room, and if I can do anything for you at any time, please let me know. Thank you.